Hey guys, so welcome to the recently recommissioned man cave down in my basement. Back down here with the lava lamps now, got the Wii down here, got to move the flat screen TV. Some people in our church gave us like a really nice big TV like they were getting rid of, and so we got that upstairs, so got to move this one down here, and I'm ready to get back to recording in the basement here, and I'm excited. But anyway, this is my special question and answer video that you guys requested to celebrate 1,000 subscribers. Woo! So thanks for subscribing. Thank you guys. And I'm going to ask some of the questions you guys sent in. I got a few here. And I'm going to try to pronounce your names right. If I get it wrong, I apologize, but I will put it somewhere on the screen wherever it's most convenient. So let's talk about some of these questions that you guys sent in. All right. First question is from Brian Pacheco. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if it's not. Okay. First question is, why did you start making videos? Well, let's see. I guess I kind of watched some Let's Plays and saw some interesting stuff, and I tried to look one up on Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo, and I couldn't really find one that did like really high scores, at least not one that was completed yet. So I kept thinking, I actually got Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo on my Wii. I was playing through it, and I was thinking, boy, this is a good game. I could show people how to get high scores on this. I just got more and more interested in it, and after I finally successfully got some pretty high scores, I was like, you know what, I want to look into LPing. And so I looked it up. I figured it wouldn't be too hard or too expensive to get started. And that's kind of how I started off. And since I've done that, I've kind of had a growing interest in videos and video editing and fun things like that. So, thanks for the question, Brian. Next is a question from Chronoslinger. You know him as Alex from Chronoslinger Let's Plays. How did you get started in Harvest Moon? Many, many moons ago. Years ago. I think I was probably 8 or 9 years old at the time. I kind of lived in a neighborhood where there weren't a lot of kids around. I didn't really have a lot to do outside, so I would just kind of like play video games. And my mom would take me to the store and to the video store and rent a game for me every so often. And one day we went to rent a game, and I was looking, and this was like back in the days of Super Nintendo. And there weren't any really interesting games there, or at least games I hadn't played. And there was one there called Harvest Moon. Never heard of it before. So I said, well, let's try renting this game. And I rented it, and I absolutely fell in love with the game. And then when they came out with Harvest Moon 64, I was super excited. I bought that game early before you could find it typically in stores in America. You probably get it some places, but a lot of stores you couldn't. And I've just kind of been really loving the franchise ever since then. So that's how I got started with Harvest Moon. Thanks, Alex. Okay, next one is from Caitlin Barup. I hope I pronounced that right, Caitlin Barup, I think. Okay, have you ever considered doing an LP of A Wonderful Life? That's the Harvest Moon game, A Wonderful Life. I don't know how to put this. This might get me, in Harvest Moon circles, this might get me branded as a heretic. But I didn't really like A Wonderful Life very much. That is the only Harvest Moon game I ever played that I actually sold back to GameStop because I thought I'm never going to play this game. And it was just mostly because I thought they kind of messed up this whole, I don't know. See, I know a lot of people really like that game, so I don't want to criticize it too much, but I thought it was too socially focused and not enough farming and work focused. You were so limited as far as the work you could do, at least early on in the game. And the real problem actually, and this is sort of a personal preference I guess, is there was a massive learning curve. It was really different from a lot of the other Harvest Moon games I had played. And so it's not a game I've really played extensively, and so it's probably not a game I'm going to LP. I'm sorry, Caitlin, I don't mean to to reject your LP suggestion, but I'm probably not going to. I don't own it anymore, and I never got far on it, and I don't know much about it, so I'm probably not going to. Maybe in the future, maybe I'll try it again and like it, but as of right now, there's no plans on the board for that. Sorry, Caitlin. Okay, next question from Charles of Wow It's Charles, which is another Let's Play channel. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, do it. Charles asks, how did Stay Frosty become your tagline, and what does it mean? Okay. I believe I used to watch an old show from the 90s. An old show from the 90s. Some of you guys are probably older than me. You don't think that's really old. But there was a show in the 90s that came on called Reboot. And it was a really interesting show. And they borrowed very heavily from a lot of other cultural references, you know, popular television shows and movies and things. And one thing they would say on that show is, Stay Frosty. And I kind of liked that. I thought that was pretty neat. And so I just kind of started using that as my tagline. As far as what it means, I have no idea what it means. It just means Stay Frosty. That's all I can tell you. Okay. We had several questions from one of our longest and most consistent viewers, the Charger. He says, first question, why did you choose to be a Let's Player, and whom did you have as inspiration during the beginning? I talked a little about the Let's Plays already. My inspiration in the beginning, I don't know, my inspiration was really just, not a particular Let's Player, I guess, but there were some guys, I'm not trying to be critical, there were some guys, though, who I saw do Let's Plays and they didn't do very good jobs of it, and I thought, well, I'd love to see a better job of this game. I'd love to see this game done better. I'm not saying, you know, I do great on them or anything, but I just kind of thought, well, you know, I'd love to see how you do this on the game. That kind of got me interested. Now, there were some Let's Players that have really, some of my favorites that have really influenced me. Probably, in my opinion, one of the best Let's Players on YouTube is Proton John. You see him, I know most people will say Nintendo Capri Sun's probably the best, but I think Proton John is really talented and really professional in how he does it, and I admire that. And there's some other guys that I've watched too, some guys who do Minecraft LPs that I haven't watched their channels in so long I don't remember. But those were kind of the guys who got me interested in gaming and making game videos, and not gaming, but making game videos from the start. Okay. Charger also asks, what's your duty outside of YouTube? So I guess, like, what's my job? Okay. You guys who have not been watching my channel or haven't really heard a whole lot from me, I work at a church. I am a minister over a smaller church here in the area, which I guess the odd thing is I'm probably the only church minister in the world who makes video game videos. And so it's a little different in that regard, but I really enjoy my work. Mostly what I'm doing is teaching. That's probably that's probably the majority, the bulk, maybe 60% of my work or so involves teaching, studying and teaching. And a lot of it involves kind of, let's say, almost like a caretaker role, working with people in the church, some of the elderly people, an encouragement role, and there's a little bit of administrative stuff too, meetings and organization, stuff like that. But it's mostly teaching, and those of you guys who haven't been watching my channel don't know that I take my Christian faith very seriously, and it's a big part of my life, and that's why I wanted to be a minister. That's why I wanted to teach about God and Jesus, and that's why I love it a lot. I feel like I'm really doing something important and something that's not just significant right now, but something that's going to be significant and make an impact forever. And I really enjoy that. That's my job outside of YouTube, Charger. Okay, let's go on to one of our viewers named Sam Mickle. I think that's how you pronounce your name, Sam. Again, I apologize if that's not right. Ooh, and Sam asks a wonderful question. What type of child do you want yours to be? Fiery, romantic, scholarly, or shy/quiet? And this is in real life. Okay, Sam. Great question. For those of you guys who don't know, Sam is referencing my video. I believe it's called The Complete Guide to Harvest Moon Animal Parade Baby Making. It is a video about how the child system works in Animal Parade, and that includes the personality types, and there's 4 basic personality types. A fiery, really kind of dominant, controlling type, a romantic kind of people-loving and outgoing emotional type, and a scholarly type that's introverted but really task-focused and very focused on doing a good job. And then there's a shy, kind of quiet, introverted people type who likes to work with people but likes to kind of be behind the scenes. And no one type is necessarily better than the others, but Sam's asking, if you haven't seen that video, go and watch it and it'll teach you a little about those types. But Sam is asking what I want my child to be, because our child will be born here in September, which is like 3.5 months away. Wow. By the way, we found out it's going to be a boy. But Sam is asking what I'd like my child to be in real life. That's a difficult thing, because I'm a scholar. My personality type is scholarly. Secondarily, I'm a quiet type, which you may not think that from the videos I make, but it's a lot easier when I'm not talking to you guys in person. I'm just recording it and you guys are seeing it. And my wife is primarily a shy type and secondarily a scholarly type. So we're both really similar in that regard. And I'll be honest, that scholarly or quiet types, those are the ones I know the best. Those are the people I understand the best and I get along with the best. And so I'm not saying, well, I guess I'll say this. It would be easiest for me if our son ended up being one of those two types. Obviously, I'll be happy if our child is fiery or romantic style type personality. But I would understand him much better if he were scholarly or quiet. Now, if he's not, that's fine. Those challenges are great. At times are opportunities to grow. I love that. Well, I mean, you don't always love it at the time, but it helps you a lot. But yeah, my scholarly or shy would be probably my preference, but maybe something really great will come from a different personality type as well. Either way, he's my son and I'll love him. So thanks for the great question, Sam. You are paying attention and you rock. Okay, let's go back to another question from the Charger. From the pets you've shared in your life, which one or ones do you cherish the most? Let's see. Probably one of my favorite pets ever, my most cherished pets, was my cat Amadeus. If you guys watch my Harvest Moon LP, you know that my cat on the game is a black cat named Amadeus. And I named him after my cat Amadeus, who we had to put down just a couple years ago now. But he was a very old cat. We had him for a very long time. He was a very, very good cat. Very big cat too. I liked him a lot. He was one of my most cherished pets. But yeah, I've kind of always had some pets, but yeah, he was one of my most cherished, I'd say. Next question from the Charger also. What's your favorite fruit, vegetable, bread, meat, drink, dairy food, and dessert? So favorite foods. I'm a big meat eater. I love meat. Some of our viewers are vegetarians. That's fine. I eat meat. I love beef is probably one, even though they say red meat's not the best. I love fish of all times. Vegetables, I like broccoli. I'm not huge on vegetables. I like broccoli, okay. Breads, I guess probably like cake, something terribly unhealthy for me. Fruits, I'm not a huge fruit eater. My wife eats fruit all the time. Like, that's her favorite food in the entire world is fruit. I like something like maybe pineapple fruit. Drinks, mostly what I drink is water, and that's because I'm a big person, and the bigger you are, the more water you have to drink to stay hydrated, so I'm pretty much drinking water all day long anyway. But I like water. I don't really drink a lot of pops or sodas or anything like that. I drink mostly water. I like milk every now and then. Yeah. Favorite foods. Thanks, Charger. Another one from Charger real quick. Were you interested in another person before you met your wife? Okay. There's a whole story behind this question. Here's how it works. My wife and I met in school at Johnson Bible College, which is now Johnson University. They've changed the name. We sat next to each other in marriage and family class. I've mentioned this before. Well, we first met there, and I kind of started talking to her, and I was kind of a little interested in her, but she wasn't interested in me. Instead, she kind of went for this other guy who sat on the other side of her in this class. And this guy became a friend of mine, and we hung out a lot. And he ended up dating her. I was like, well, she didn't end up with me. She ended up with him. Fine, whatever. And so I went on and I met this other girl. And I started to kind of, take a liking to her. And she was starting to take a liking to me. And things were going good. And we were kind of getting to the point where we were pretty close to dating. Right before we got there, right before we kind of got to the dating aspect, my friend who was dating my wife at the time broke up with her, and he started hanging out with me some more because he didn't have a girlfriend anymore, and he met this girl I had been hanging out with. Anyway, long story short, he and this girl are now married. He ended up kind of catching her attention again, so she kind of went with him. So he actually married her, and I married my wife. And I'm really glad it worked out that way. Nothing against her, but my wife is absolutely a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady, and I love her to death. So yeah, actually, that's and I asked her permission if I could share that story online before I actually told that, and she was okay with it. But yeah, so it was kind of like this big crazy story that happened, but I'm glad everything turned out the way that it did. Okay, so next question. I'm going to butcher this name, I'm sorry. Nanami Chio, right? Nanami Chio? All right, Nanami Chio asks, have you ever felt the need to troll someone on the internet because they deserved it or not? Have you, and what happened and why? Depends on what you mean by troll, I guess. I learned a valuable lesson. After I got out of college, I wasn't so busy with homework all the time, wasn't always doing stuff with friends, and so I could spend more time on the internet, reading like forums and things like that. And I would read stuff, and I'd read people say some really dumb stuff on the internet. If you guys, I'm sure you guys all know that at this point. And I would just be like, well, they're saying something dumb, let me correct them. And I would talk with them. I would try not, I guess at times I even got into internet arguments. I wouldn't really call it trolling though. But I would disagree with them, and they would kind of disagree back, and we'd have a discussion about it. And I found at times there were people I could talk with and people I could discuss with, and even when you make sense, they don't really want to listen to you. And I guess that's probably the closest thing I've ever gotten to trolling is, when someone says something dumb, I would try to correct them. I don't know, maybe I'd done something where I just messed with somebody. I don't know. May have done that at one point or two, just when I was in a bad mood. I shouldn't have done that though. Don't do that. Don't troll. Friends, don't let friends troll. Okay. But for the most part, I kind of learned my lesson that when it comes to the internet, you can't reason with people. Most people on the internet aren't interested in reason anyway. So, yeah, I just kind of like, if somebody's going to argue, forget about it. Ain't worth it. So, I guess that kind of answers your question. Thanks, Nanami. Okay, one more question from the Charger. Was your current catchphrase the only one you've stuck with, or were there more listed before? It made sense. Let's say. So I guess I'm assuming you're referring to my Stay Frosty catchphrase, which is, yeah, actually I think that was my first one, actually. I don't think I've ever used, I'm not a person who really changes things a lot. I kind of get in a groove and just go with it. So maybe it's time to change it. I don't know. I like Stay Frosty. We'll see what happens. But no, that's the only one that I have, I believe. Unless I may go back and watch some of my really early episodes, and I know I didn't have it then, but maybe I had something different. I think Stay Frosty is my only one, though. Thanks for the question, Charger. And one more question. I like this question a lot, from Queen Jades. If you could bring back a bachelor or bachelorette from either Animal Parade or Harvest Moon for the SNES, who would it be and why? From either Animal Parade or Harvest Moon. Okay. So I'm kind of going to take this as who's my favorite bachelorette from Animal Parade, Harvest Moon, or the SNES version. See, that's tough. Because honestly, if you ask me, the bachelorettes in Harvest Moon, there were some pretty good ones. The bachelorettes did not get really good, really interesting characters until you got to the 64 version. I don't know. I like a lot of them in Animal Parade. I like Luna, I like Candace, I like Vivi, or Witch. I don't know. When I was young, when I first started playing for the Super Nintendo Harvest Moon, my favorite was always Anne, and I would marry Anne almost every single time. I really liked Maria. First time I ever started playing, I thought, oh, Maria's a pretty cool girl. I like Maria. And then I started talking to her. I was like, I don't like her theology so much. And so I was like, I forget about her. So I went with Anne. And Anne became my favorite for a while. And I'm kind of back to Maria from the 64 is my favorite. But if you're asking just Animal Parade or Super Nintendo, boy, that's really tough. I might have to go with Anne from the Super Nintendo. That, or maybe Candace from Animal Parade. I don't know. Probably the all-time classic favorite would be Anne from Super Nintendo, which I'm glad that actually they brought in Magical Melody, which I've been playing some. I borrowed it from Chrono Slinger. But they brought all the Bachelorettes from SNES to Magical Melody and then even added a few more. If I had to pick, I might say maybe Anne. Maybe Eve. I like Eve because I like how they expanded on her in Magical Melody as well. So that's a really ambiguous answer with a bunch of different kind of points thrown in. So anyway, thank you for the answer, Miss Queen Jades. All right, guys. That is all the questions that I got. I appreciate those of you who sent in questions, though, for me to answer. I appreciate you guys who have subscribed and helped me get up to 1,000 viewers. I enjoy making videos. Hopefully we'll be back to Harvest Moon Animal Parade here this next week. I should have some time to record here probably this Monday or something. It's Friday now. So yeah, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. Please keep watching. Let me know if you have any more questions, anything for me. You can always, private message me. Check out my videos, my playlist. I have a playlist on Christian Answers, so we're talking about that tonight. I'm open to any questions. If you ever just want to chat, you can add me on Facebook. If you go to my channel Facebook page, I'm one of the subscribers on there. Nathan Crow is my full name. So anyway, if you guys ever want to hook up with me, just say hey and we'll chat and hang out. Cool. Thanks a lot for the questions. Thanks for hanging out tonight. And until next time, stay frosty.